So I'm going to get started. Welcome, everyone. We've got 49 people joining us at this point, and I imagine we may have a few more as the evening goes on, but given that all of you arrived at the start, I'm going to start on time. Welcome. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Kathy Lawrence. I'm the provincial head. I see many familiar names, but a few people who I recognize your name, but I don't know that I would know you if I walked past you. So thank you for your interest in participating in this as well. Our intention with this is to sort of walk through a PowerPoint that the leaders in the department have put together, and I'm the person responsible for driving the slides. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get everything underway. Just so our intention with this is that as we did in the past, we will walk our way through the presentation and then have an open forum for questions related to the presentation or what other things people may be interested in sharing. We are recording the presentation portion of the town hall for others that may be interested in listening or watching it after, but we will turn the recording off during the questions so people can feel free to ask whatever questions they might have. So just to start in a good way, we are gathered here today from treaties 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10 territories and the homeland of the Métis. And I think in our everyday lives and practice, we're very aware of the health inequities that many Indigenous people face in our communities across the province. And it remains critically important that as we provide care, we also learn about all of our history and acknowledge that how critically important it is to build good relationships and with First Nations and Métis people, both in care, but also in our community. I want to start by saying thank you to all of you. Just for perspective, we have the invitation to participate in this went out to learners, staff, and faculty across the province. And just to give you a little bit of perspective on the scope of the education's contributions that Department of Family Medicine make to Saskatchewan, we collectively over 100 individuals provided over 4,500 hours of teaching to first and second year medical students in the last academic year, and over 200 weeks of postgraduate electives in addition to for medical students, in addition to the core clerkship teaching that they all have during their third year. We supported over 100 residents and graduate students to be successful in their education to this point. And more importantly, we provided incredibly important and necessary care to the people of Saskatchewan under some really difficult circumstances. And I want to thank you all for all of your contributions and hope you've been able to stay well through all of these very challenging times with our health system as it stands right now. So in case you didn't look at your email, we have a new dean. So Dr. Sarah Forgy will be starting in July of 2024. She's a pediatric infectious disease specialist from the University of Alberta, and she's based in Edmonton, working currently at the Stollery Children's Hospital. She's a highly regarded medical educator and currently is the department head for pediatrics for the University of Alberta. And her prior training was at the University of Manitoba. And she also has deep ties to family medicine, as both of her parents were IMG family physicians who started their practice in rural Manitoba. So very excited to have her come to Saskatchewan and learn about us and lead us through the next 5 years. So tonight, I have a few things to share with you, and then I'm going to turn things over to our rural education team, and followed by our other academic leaders. And as I said, we'll then have an open forum for people to ask any questions that they might have through that. So just wanted to also say thank you and remind you about the significant leadership that we have in the department through our area department leads, as well as our division leads. And I know many of you are here tonight and filling those roles. So we have 4 individuals that support and lead services in the north. And again, 4 individuals in the south as well, in southeast and then southwest. In the past year, the SHA moved from having integrated urban health to having integrated Regina Health and integrated Saskatoon Health, but fortunately, we didn't have to make a big change in our leadership team, and it's been great to have all 12 of these people coming together to think about some of the critical practice areas and how to support physicians as best we can in the current circumstances, and lead primary health care within their parts of the province as well. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about a few of the activities that the SHA is involved with related to family medicine. We continue, as I spoke about the leadership of the family medicine area department leads, work toward strong relationships between the family medicine leaders with the executive directors of primary health care, and actually mental health and addictions and population public health, along with the public health and medical health officers from across the province. This, I would say, is a work in progress, but I think it's important to be able to see the continuum from health promotion and prevention all the way through to acute care that is provided through the leadership of this group of individuals. If we look at network development, we know that not everything is ideal, and there are lots of hopes for ongoing development around networks and how family physicians engage with the primary care teams that are associated with their communities. But there is still work going on right now around evaluating network maturity and looking to help develop plans for the upcoming year to continue to improve and integrate team-based care and connect health system team members to family medicine clinics. And that actually is one of the strategic priorities that will be for the upcoming year within the health authority. And I think there's a obvious recognition of the incredible importance of mental health and addiction care and the need to continually move toward that improvement there. And that will be a whole independent element of priority work for the health authority in this upcoming year. Many of you are probably aware that there's a lot of work going on related to primary care renewal in the province. Considerable ties with this to the really wonderful work that the SMA ministry collaborative group on the compensation working group did to move forward blended capitation as a new payment model for family physicians. But primary care renewal is seen as going beyond that to looking at the other drivers and needs for building the best possible primary care system in the province. And this is happily very grounded in patient's medical home and wrapping care and services around patients and the providers that they work with in community. We don't have a lot that we can really say at this point about the work of that provincial oversight committee, but the timeline for recommendations back to government will be the end of March. So it is seen as a renewal, not let's start over from scratch and stop all of the things that are happening, but very much focused on how can there be recommendations that will help improve and enhance what we're doing and potentially find and identify the things that need to be started as well. And then one of the other sort of critical pathways for the SHA is what they're referring to as seamless care, essentially as close to home as possible. And some of the things that are featured within that part of the work will be development of a provincial COPD pathway and enhanced work around the critical need for STBBI care in the province. Culturally responsive care is another key element within that. And then for those of you in working in acute care, there's an effort to advance collaborative inpatient care, which will take many of the principles that were developed through the accountable care units and move those out to our regional and community hospitals around the province over the next year or two. One of the other things that we've been working for is we asked all faculty, learners and staff in the department how they felt about changing the name of the Department of Family Medicine, Department of Academic Family Medicine, to the Department of Family Medicine. And this came as a recommendation from the Department of Review that was completed in 2022. And essentially the Department of Academic Family Medicine developed that name in order to help distinguish it from the clinical department many, many years ago. And the recommendation from the reviewer that was supported by the provincial review team was to better align the department and the desire to integrate the university and SHA and have a single name for the department as a whole that reflects that the clinical and academic missions of the department should be aligned, and that family physicians are teachers and clinicians, and we should think of us all as part of a larger community rather than trying to be or be thought of as two different pieces and two different organizations. And so we asked you what you thought, and 98% of you agreed that the name should be simplified to just be the Department of Family Medicine. I think we had quite a few thoughtful comments related to this, and also a lot of people who said, please just get it done, because why is it taking this long? So we also had a few people who questioned, why was this really the time, or what were the resources that would be necessary to do something like this. And so we're mindful that we may take this forward, and somewhere along the way someone may say, well, this is a lovely idea, but do you realize the implications for this? And then we'll have to see where we go from there. So the process for this involves approval from the health authority to change, and then the university at both the College of Medicine level and at the greater university to make this change. And it involves I think, at least 3 university committees that have to agree that this. So it'll be something that we move forward, but it won't be something that happens very quickly. Some of you may be familiar with how universities work, and that might not surprise you. So one of the other things that we're have embarked on this year, and it's in early days, and it takes time given everybody's very busy portfolios and responsibilities, both clinically and academically, but we are working toward the development of a strategic plan. So far, what we've done is engaged our clinical and academic teams leadership teams from around the province to participate in a SOAR exercise, which essentially looks at strengths, opportunities, and aspirations and desired results of each of the groups there. And we'll be synthesizing that, reflecting it back, pulling it into themes, and then wanting it to share and gather more feedback and perspectives on that before we then look to how we build a strategic plan in the context of what the SHA has as their strategic plan, as well as the universities and College of Medicine's plan. So again, this is early in the process, and we'll need to have build in lots of opportunity for consultation, but we've been given support to do this from both the College of Medicine and the SHA. So I think we've been quite excited by what we've done so far, and are looking forward to being able to share that out once we have it in a way that makes sense and isn't pictures on a slide right now. So next, I think this is just a random slide I put in because I like the picture. I'm going to hope, oh my God. I'm going to turn the floor over to Darcy and Kieran, but I think I may have gone to the end of the presentation. Hang on, I don't usually have to do this. Yeah, let's get back to where we were. There we go. Well, I wasn't quite done. Look at me. It's been a long day. Okay, why is it like this? Now I'm going to share. Okay, let's hope that you see this from where we want it to be. Okay, back on track. Sorry about that. So one of the other things that we have been doing over the last few years, and have essentially come to the conclusion that it is going to be an annual activity, is that in the spring we have a scholarships showcase and celebration of the department. And so as part of this, we're interested in sharing and collaborating with people across the province who've been involved in scholarship pursuits, whether that's quality improvement or research or educational scholarship of some sort. And so I would encourage you to watch for a call for posters that should be coming out fairly soon, with instructions for how to share your ideas and what you'd like to share back with your colleagues. And we'll be gathering in Saskatoon on May 2nd to celebrate this. We're also, during that time, we'll be recognizing the winners of our teaching scholarship and innovation and advocacy awards. You can all expect our Keith Owl Award nomination process happened earlier in the summer and fall, but you will be seeing a request for nominations for the Dr. Ramsden and Dr. Mahood Awards coming to your inbox again in the next little while. So please, if you have colleagues who you think would be deserving of these awards, we would greatly appreciate your nomination, and look forward to celebrating and sharing some of the wonderful things that our colleagues across the province do in their day-to-day work. A couple of just professional development things I wanted to highlight that are relatively new. The Office of Faculty Development has put together 2 online courses that are self-paced and free for you. One of them is on equity, diversity, and inclusion, and the other is related to ethics and professionalism. And the top QR code will take you to that, the faculty development website, where you'll find the links to this, as well as all of the other wonderful material and content that they've built to support teachers. And then the other one, in keeping along the theme of equity, diversity, inclusion, and Indigenous health, just wanted to remind everyone about the trauma-informed care and cultural responsiveness training opportunities that are provided through the SHA learning platform. And so the other QR code would take you to that site as well. The top one, if you need to log in, you'll need to know your University of Saskatchewan login information, and the bottom one, you'll need to know your Saskatchewan Health Authority login information. And then I wanted to also remind everyone about Compass. So this is a coaching and mentoring program for Saskatchewan physicians. It's not limited to family medicine, but I think it's a really wonderful opportunity for family physicians established in practice, as well as early in their career, to connect. And I think from the information I've heard about the first year of the program, I think the people, both the participants and the coaches and mentors, have really felt like it's been a really incredibly valuable experience for them. And just it's for individuals in their first 5 years in practice in Saskatchewan, either independent of whether they're new to practice as starting their careers, or if they've come to Saskatchewan from somewhere else and were experienced in another practice location. And now I'm going to turn it over to Darcy and Kieran, and they're going to tell me when to advance the slides, and I'm not going to mess it up anymore.
I'm glad you're on tech, Kathy, not me. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You can advance the slide to this great slide. I think it's no mistake that Kathy has put us first in ranking of importance, I'm just guessing. But anyways, nice to meet everybody tonight and see you here. I'm Darcy McGonigal. I'm the Rural Director for the North, and I'm a physician in Island Cross as well.
And hi, everybody. My name is Kieran Conway. I'm a family doctor based out of Regina, and I'm the Rural Director for the South.
And rounding out our team is Kayla Wu, and she is our administrative assistant, and she is spectacular. Next slide. So, the buffalo got added on since I saw it last. That's great. So we just thought that we would recognize all of the rural site coordinators that we have across the province in all of our main teaching sites that we send residents and clinical clerks to as well. But these are the folks on the ground in each of these sites that make it all happen. They're the ones that do all of the student coordination locally, all of the evaluations, and really make the teaching experience a fruitful one for the learners in our province. So we just thought we would recognize all of these people. I see a few of them on the line here tonight. They're the ones who really do all the work. We just are here to support them. Next slide.
The rural experience in the College of Medicine and the Department of Family Medicine is something we take very seriously. We think it's very important. We ask that learners, spend a lot of time, relatively speaking, in rural locations, learning about rural medicine. And some of the reasons we think it's important, some of these lofty goals, practicing and learning in a rural environment helps develop well-rounded and capable providers. Those of you who are rural providers on the line know this, and those learners on the line can look forward to gaining some of these competencies and this confidence. We think learners gain confidence and independence during their rural experience and learning in a rural environment. They can hone procedural skills. And then obviously the biggest reason is that we want to supply the medical workforce for the future in rural Saskatchewan. And we know that that's a constant battle, and we're always looking at ways to fill that gap. You can go forward, Kathy.
So as rural directors, our team of rural, what do we do? Well, we support rural training sites. So there's about 58 residents and over 13 postgrad sites. And these residents do anywhere between 2 and 6 month rotations in the rural sites. And obviously that takes a lot of coordination and planning and scheduling and supporting of all of the great faculty that we have in all of those sites. We also are looking to expand into Fort Capel and Shellbrook in this coming year, which is really exciting. Both of those sites aren't new to teaching, but they primarily had undergraduates and early years medical students come to their sites, and now we're advancing and starting to put residents there. So we're really excited about that. And then, as I mentioned, all of these sites that take residents also take clinical clerks. So a lot of that teaching and a lot of the faculty development that goes into that it's not really different between postgrad and undergrad. So we're also kind of looking to reach out and support some of those sites that are only taking clinical clerks at this point, and seeing if we can transition them into taking learners from all levels. Next slide.
The other really exciting part of Darcy and my job is our committee work as sort of the rural directors, and having that role in postgrad and undergrad. We are on a lot of committees, and I think our role there is to bring the rural perspective, the rural generalist perspective, to many of those departments. So I won't go through this list. You could tell there's a lot. And we're happy to do it. Yeah, I think we can go to the next slide.
You don't want to talk about committees more, Karen?
I love the committees, but I think this is more important.
So things that are priorities and challenges for our team. And I'm sure everybody on the line will recognize these, especially if you worked in rural. Housing obviously is one of our biggest priorities. And while, we're not individually responsible for making sure there's housing for each of the students, this is an issue across the province, and we're working with a lot of the players, trying to get a lot of the different groups such as FHA, College of Medicine, ministry, just to collectively recognize that this is something that's super important to support our learners in rural. So it's a constant work in motion. We also are working to improve administrative support in rural sites. There's a lot of work that is already being done, and we're just wanting to recognize that important work. Obviously, enhancing preceptor capacity at each of our sites is important. you may have heard, but rural sometimes struggles with physician staffing and turnover. And we want to make sure that we're recognizing that and not making the teaching experience a burdensome one, but a supported one. And then always looking to expand to new sites. So if you're on the line tonight and you're a rural physician and you think your site might be one that would be a good one for students to experience, reach out to us and we can chat and see what we can do. But we have our eye on a few communities already where we're always looking to see if we can get students in there. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you both very much. And now I'm going to introduce Matt Kushnerek, who is our undergrad director.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, I guess, Kathy, we could probably go to the next slide. So yeah, I'm just going to spend the next few minutes just chatting with everybody about the undergrad component of our department. So I guess with my role as the undergrad director, I kind of help to oversee both pre-clerkship and clerkship aspects of the undergrad curriculum kind of related to family medicine. One of our kind of committees that I'm involved with is the undergrad education committee, and we meet on a monthly basis, just kind of related to any concerns or topics kind of related to undergrad family medicine. I work quite closely with our clerkship director, Regina Cameron, based in Regina. And then we have 3 clerkship site leads. So Chantal Ansel in Saskatoon, Peyton Peterson in Regina, and Vipul Parekh in Prince Albert. And then again, we have admin support that is super vital in terms of especially scheduling a lot of our pre-clerkship sessions and then our family medicine clerkship rotation and electives. And that'd be Tracy Lewis in Saskatoon, Jeanette Bellavance in Regina, and Nicole Toutant in Prince Albert. And then, just like Darcy and Karen mentioned, just with their role kind of in undergrad and postgrad, I connect with both of them once in a while, and as well as touch base with Sheila Smith with the postgrad department every once in a while as well. So yeah, I think we could probably move to the next slide, Kathy. Yeah, so one of the events that I wanted to just highlight for everybody today is the Launch FM event. I'm sure many of you have heard of this event that's been going on. I guess the initial event that we had was in 2019. But I guess with the pandemic, we put that on pause for a few years. But over the last couple of years, we've been able to restart this event in person. This past year, the event was hosted in Saskatoon at Westwinds. The whole goal of the event is to just really blast students with family medicine procedural skills sessions really early, kind of within the first month of medical school. It's hosted through the department, but we do definitely rely quite heavily on our sponsors with the SMA as well as the SCFP. And it is it's a voluntary event for students. I think this past year we had like 96 students attend the event, which is, almost the entire class. So the feedback's been really, really, really positive. So this next year we're planning to host the event in Regina and then just kind of alternate back and forth between Saskatoon and Regina. We were able to create a video for the event this past year that's housed on the undergrad website for the department. I'm not sure, Kathy, if we have enough time to play that today or if the link's just available.
I think we're good. I'm all the the video is actually on the Department of Family Medicine's YouTube page, where you can also find all of our site videos for CARMs and enhanced skills, but fingers crossed this is going to work. Oh, I know what I have to do. Hang on. Okay. Here we go.
Launch FM is a workshop that is provided for first year medical students to expose them to family medicine, what family medicine is all about, what we do as family physicians, and some of the procedures and skills that we acquire as family docs.
One of the highlights of this event, I think, is just seeing the excitement in all the students' faces, being able to share the things that I love about family medicine with them. For example, I'm really passionate about reproductive care, so I'm at one of the gynae stations today, talking to people all about IUDs.
Throughout medical school, I kind of explored different careers, and I think I always just kind of came back to family medicine as just having such a broad breadth of practice. You get like a whole bunch of variety with your practice and can kind of continue to modify it or evolve it. Developing those connections and community relationships with your patients and having that continuity of care is something that I've really come to enjoy as well.
My favorite station today has been the naloxone station because it was more of a conversation about just raising awareness about social determinants of health, and that's something that I really connect to. So for me, that was a highlight, and again, just being connected to the community and not just procedures.
It's really nice to like see the reactions of the students and just see kind of their responses and how much they really seem to be excited to kind of get their first stab at a lot of these different skills. Specifically, like the suturing skills event tends to always be a big highlight. And our sponsors, we have a lot of support to be able to provide students with these advanced suture kits, which is definitely a pretty cool experience.
I sutured for the first time in a workshop just a couple of weeks before, and getting to practice my skills again and seeing the residents who are helping out, just advising me on my technique. I feel like I wouldn't get that opportunity otherwise.
I think an event like this is important for first-year medical students because it allows students to get a really early hands-on approach to some of the really neat procedures that we do as family docs. And more importantly, I think we recognize that there's a shortage of family physicians right now in Saskatchewan, and I think this is a great opportunity to try and recruit more undergraduate medical students into family medicine as a career so that they'll stay in the province and practice as family doctors when they're done their training.
Not only am I learning more about family medicine, I'm actually getting in touch with my peers, and it's such a low-stakes environment. Like, it's so fun being here today. I can ask so many questions and not feel constricted. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Kathy. Yeah, and a big thanks to Yana and the communications division as well for helping us out with that video, as well as for like many aspects of the Launch FM event. Okay, so I think, yeah, Kathy, it looks like the screens maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna start over. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go. Better?
Perfect. Yeah, so I think we could probably go to the next slide. So I think one thing to highlight, and I guess I highlighted this a little bit at the last town hall, and I'm sure many people here are aware as well, but the U of S UGME has gone through curriculum renewal over the last few years. I think some highlights specifically to our department is that the college is definitely very interested in terms of like looking to expand our clerkship rotation. And it actually created a proposal this past year looking at possibly increasing the rotation length from 6 weeks to 8 weeks. And I think that's still kind of on the table and something that the college has kind of advised that they'd like us to transition to over the next number of years. But at this time, just kind of with where things are at with physician support and admin resources, we just thought it was probably in the best interest of the department right now, just to stay at the 6 weeks and focus on expanding our elective opportunities, as well as some of the pre-clerkship opportunities. So we're kind of right now in conversations with the clinical skills team about transitioning away from what's called discipline-specific patient encounters, where students go to family and physician offices twice each term just in year 2. And there's an appetite to create more of a longitudinal family medicine experience that would actually include both year 1 and 2, where students would hopefully get to the point where they'd actually spend up to 6 half days per year with a family physician. And the goal would be that it would be longitudinal and continuous, ideally through both the first and second year. So we're in discussions that are kind of ongoing, but there's a thought that this might be up and running as early as next year. I think something else just to highlight in terms of curriculum renewal, there has been a big focus specifically in year 1 on the health promotions module. And this module focuses on kind of like ages and stages, specific preventative screening, and then also focuses a lot on nutrition, dietary health, and many of those sessions are taught by family physicians within our department. There's also, at the end of year 2, a multi-system or complex care module that's kind of like tying together a lot of different systems that they've kind of learned over the last, I guess, 1 and 2 years of their training. And there is a session on like multi-complex care, chronic disease management, preventative screening that I'm helping to facilitate that's upcoming in March. So yeah, I think overall the changes have been pretty exciting. To go along with the fact that year 1, about 40 students, I believe, are now doing their complete medical school starting from year 1 in Regina as well. Yeah, so we could go to the next slide. As part of the presentation tonight, I just wanted to highlight just some UG teaching opportunities throughout the department, or throughout the College of Medicine, sorry. So just like PGME teaching, physicians do require a faculty appointment to be able to teach. So I do have the link attached here just for people who do want to look at getting that faculty appointment. I would definitely encourage everybody to go and sort through that process and get that appointment. There's a ton of opportunities both for pre-clerkship and clerkship. Pre-clerkship wise, it's maybe a little bit less focused just to family medicine, but focuses on a lot of skills that I think we're very well positioned to teach, and that would include like interviewing, physical exam skills, communication skills, which would include like advanced communication sessions or breaking bad news to patients. And then there's a lot of different case-based learning modules, OSCEs, and then the discipline-specific patient encounters, which I guess that would be kind of more honed into family medicine specifically. And then that would kind of go along with all the different opportunities to teach in clerkship as well, both urban and rural. So I think we could probably go to the next slide, Kathy. And then this slide just kind of hones in on who maybe you could look to contact in terms of different teaching opportunities. So I think probably a big focus on this slide would just be if you're interested in any capacity with undergrad teaching based in family medicine, definitely Tracy Lewis, Jeanette, myself, we're all kind of willing to and very open to hearing from you. And we can definitely direct you to the right people in terms of getting set up for these teaching sessions. But this slide hopefully just summarizes all the different contacts for the department, or sorry, for the college. And then I do just have a little bit of information, just the link at the bottom there, just for medical faculty payments and what each rate would look at for UG teaching.
Next.
And then, yeah, my last slide here just highlights just some additional, I guess, highlights for the UG department. We have started over the last year meeting monthly with Yana in the communications division. Just like the PGME, we've developed a rural catalog for UGME students, specifically when they're doing their clerkship or elective rotations in year 3 and 4. We're continually partnering with the SMA, the SCFP to engage in events like the Rural Roadmap and Dinner with the Docs. And then we're really excited, to partner with the Family Medicine Club to host skills nights that are upcoming in March, both at Westwinds and at the FMU. And this will be kind of the first skills nights that are actually at both sites for the past number of years. So it's exciting to kind of get that back up and running. And I feel like over the last couple of years, we've been able to, I think, strengthen our relationship and work quite closely with the Family Medicine Club, which is exciting. And I think there's some really good momentum coming from that club as well. So yeah, I think that's all from me. I guess I'll pass it back to Kathy. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, and next I'm going to introduce Sheila Smith, who's going to talk about postgraduate family medicine.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kathy. You can advance to the next slide. So I'm Sheila Smith. I'm the postgraduate program director, and I have a huge team that works with me. A few new faces on this slide from last year. We have our 3 assistant program directors with responsibilities to both core family medicine and enhanced skills. We have Dr. Hughes with curriculum, Dr. Shedden with assessment, and Dr. Reese with continuous improvement. And we cannot do what we do without Shelley Christensen and Michelle Cohen as our manager of medical education and coordinator academic programs. They are the solid foundation for our central postgrad team. Next slide, please. This is a slide that I can't take credit for. Kathy produced it for the accreditation team. The QR code works, but she made a Google Maps of, let's see, all of our 8 sites. So those are in red. And then we have our rural sites in yellow. And then we also have the northern sites that our residents go to when they're either in La Ronge or Île La Crosse. So all the places that our residents would have education in. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to introduce some people for our site teams. So we've expanded our site teams over the last year. We now have people in each site for curriculum and assessment to help our curriculum director and assessment director with their work. So in addition to Dr. Groves and Janice in La Ronge, we have Dr. Martel and Dr. Grove does the assessment lead. And then in Prince Albert, we have Dr. Van Rensburg and Heidi. And then we also have Elizabeth Hogwide, who is a co-curriculum lead, and Annalie does the assessment lead. Next slide, please. In Northwest and Southeast, we have Dr. Kristupa and Kristen, and then Dr. Lazar as assessment lead. Dr. Foy and Bobby run the show in the Southeast. Next slide, please. In Moose Jaw, we have Dr. Rinisland and Dorothy. Then he's amassed an amazing team in Moose Jaw. We have Dr. Howe and Bartolotti, and then Dr. King. And in the Swift Current, we have Dr. Levins and Cynthia, and then Dr. Lee to help out with assessment. And then our last sites, Dr. Hossein and Georgie run the show, Dr. Farouk and Dr. Lees as curriculum and assessment lead, Dr. Clark and Tracy in Regina, with Dr. Vandelot helping out with curriculum. So you can see we have a lot of people helping out, and what have we been working on for the past year since we last said hello. We've had an accreditation visit. This was on a cycle that takes place every 8 years, but this was the big accreditation visit. They visit the Royal College programs, they visit family medicine, they visit enhanced skills. And our team did a lot of work in preparation for this visit. My part was a lot of policy and process development. As you can see, we created a lot of policies, a lot of processes, but we were most successful at getting our assessment policy passed at the PGME level. So we have a family medicine specific assessment policy that's different from Royal College because our principles are different in family medicine. Next slide, please. Just wanted to also highlight, we did a post-grad governance review in preparation for accreditation. Some of these committees were requirements for accreditation, but there were also things that I wanted to do to try to make connections between the sites. And so we have a lead resident committee and a site director committee for collaboration across the sites. And then we also created a committee for each assistant program director to assist them in their work. The orange is enhanced skills. So they also have program specific RPCs and program specific progress committees, which is a competency committee equivalent for family medicine. Next slide, please. Our assistant program directors have been very hard at work. Our assistant program director for curriculum underwent curriculum mapping for each site. So each site did an incredible amount of work in preparation for accreditation, mapping out their whole education program. A competency manual was created, a new one that was updated. We've implemented a curriculum committee, a curriculum implementation committee. We hosted first ever Family Medicine Foundations, which is an orientation where all the North residents went to the Saskatoon site and all the South residents went to the Regina site. We also hosted Consolidation Week, and that was to look at basically a lot of things happen around resident retreat where residents were taken out of their clinical work, and we just wanted to also have some educational opportunities within that week so that we didn't have residents losing out on short rotations. And she also implemented, done some work with health equity curriculum. In assessment, as we noted, we created the assessment policy. Elentra was brought on board. We updated field notes. We updated periodic reviews. In continuous improvements, there's been a lot of work as well. We produced the first ever iteration of our annual program level report and also site level reports, formed an evaluation committee, and have done some curriculum continuous quality improvement as well. In selection, of course, we created a committee, created a policy. We have our interviewers undergo bias training. We blinded the scoring for file reviewers. We provide community spaces every year for applicants. And this is unique to family medicine, and I think to actually to the University of Saskatchewan. So these are safe spaces for applicants to access during the during the interviews, just to decompress and yeah, things like that. There's also been recruitment videos, so you can access those online as well. Each site and each enhanced skills program has an amazing recruitment video. Next slide, please. Some accreditation successes. So we had 4 leading practice innovations recommended for core family medicine. One was in La Ronge with their comprehensive care continuum. One was in Moose Jaw with their educational design that allowed residents to address their strengths and individual learning objectives. One in Northwest for protected time for review of assessments, and also one in Regina for enabling comprehensive health equity experiences. Next slide, please. I just also wanted to highlight some successes that we prepared out from the program evaluation report, the program level one. So in comprehensive care, we do produce, our family medicine program produces residents that are confident in their ability to provide comprehensive continuous care. You can see that we're above the national average in that. Next slide, please. And then also from the program evaluation report for clinical exposures, and also compared to national numbers, we reported higher in-training exposures to rural populations, to Indigenous populations, and to marginal, disadvantaged, and vulnerable populations. And these clinical exposures mirror the need for the demographics of the Saskatchewan population. And I believe last slide. And also just a big thank you to all the faculty out there listening in. Another highlight from our program evaluation report, our faculty evaluations show that residents consistently rate our faculty as engaged, approachable, and effective teachers. So I just wanted to thank you all for that. And I do not believe there's another slide.
Thank you, Sheila. And now we'll transition to Marty Haru, who is our Enhanced Skills Program Director.
Great, thank you very much, Kathy. I think you could probably go to the next slide. All right, so it's really a pleasure for me to be here tonight to be able to talk a little bit about our Enhanced Skills programs. We're really fortunate to have a great group of leaders throughout the program. We have 4 Enhanced Skills programs currently, and the program directors are Dr. Deese for Family Practice Anesthesia, Dr. Grobler for the Enhanced Surgical Skills Program, Dr. Nichols for the Sport and Exercise Medicine Program, and Dr. Rollo for the FMEM program. Also really lucky to have great site directors in the EM programs in Regina and Swift Current, Dr. Harrison in Swift Current and Dr. Cowan in Regina. I'd also like to really make special mention of Jaylene Jepson, who's just doing a phenomenal job with admin support for the Enhanced Skills programs. So this is our leadership team, and really proud of the work that everyone's doing. I think you can go to the next slide. So first of all, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the Enhanced Surgical Skills Program. Many of you probably know about our programs, but I thought it would be worthwhile going through them again just so that everybody understands what we're trying to accomplish in the programs and how the programs work. So the Enhanced Surgical Skills Program is based in Prince Albert. There's funding for 2 residents per year, and it's a really unique program across the country where 6 months of the program is dedicated to general surgery skills, and the other 6 months of the program is dedicated to obstetrical skills. So working with high-risk obstetrical cases and also learning how to do C-sections. Doing some really neat things there. And with the general surgical side, the residents are trained in doing endoscopies and surgeries like appendectomies and inguinal hernia repairs and a whole bunch of really cool things. So our residents that finish this program are really uniquely positioned to be able to help regional and even rural communities with being able to provide access for patients that need some of these services. So it's a really unique program, and it's a really wonderful program as well. Next slide. Yeah, so the Sport and Exercise Medicine program is based in Regina, and every year we have funding for 1 resident. This is a program that really focuses on becoming an expert in musculoskeletal health, and we also have a strong component of team coverage, which allows our residents to prepare for the Canadian Academy of Sport and Exercise Medicine certification exam. We also try to include some integrated longitudinal family practice throughout the Sport and Exercise Medicine residency. And the residents who complete this program often go on to do a lot of leadership activities within the sport and exercise medicine community, covering for teams and covering for different types of national and international sporting events. Some of our residents go on to do some family medicine in addition to more focused MSK and sports medicine practices. Next slide. Our family practice anesthesia program is based out of Saskatoon. There are some rotations that are done in Prince Albert as well. Currently, there's funding for 3 residents, and this is, again, a unique program where we have our family medicine residents working with Royal College residents in major tertiary hospitals in Saskatoon, and then also working in smaller centers in rural areas to get some rural exposures. Residents that finish this program, again, are uniquely equipped to provide, again, regional and rural areas with a specific skill set that's really valuable for these communities. Obviously, being able to provide anesthesia for lower risk patients and lower risk cases is one aspect of the services that they provide, but they also act as resources for the community for intravascular access and airway management for emergencies in the emergency room or in the hospital or throughout the community. So they are a real significant resource for the communities that they serve. Next slide. Yeah, and our 4th program is the Family Medicine Emergency Medicine Program. This is our biggest program. We have 5 spots in Regina, 4 in Saskatoon, and 2 in Swift Current. The program is a very strong program, and the program has a really nice combination of clinical, academic, and simulation exposures for our residents. We also are very fortunate to have a large number of very dedicated emergency physicians who help with the teaching of the program. Residents who complete this program are usually going to be working in a more focused emergency room setting, and they have our residents have been working all the way from small rural emergency rooms all the way up to large tertiary emergency rooms throughout Saskatchewan and across Canada, even into big centers like Toronto and Vancouver. So our residents in the emergency medicine program are very well equipped to be leaders in the emergency rooms down the road when they get out and are working. I also just wanted to make mention that all 4 of these programs, if you're interested in them, you can learn more about them with the videos that were made in the past year, the recruitment videos. I'd really like to thank Yana and Jaylene for the hard work that they did on helping us to produce those videos. If you just Google University of Saskatchewan emergency medicine, the video will come up, and they are pretty cool. They're, I think, going to be a really useful resource for helping to recruit residents to our program. Next slide. One of the big things that we went through this past year, like the other parts of the program, was accreditation. And my first line of business is just to really thank everybody who participated in the accreditation. Our program admin, again, Jaylene, was instrumental in helping pull this off. She did a great job. All the program directors put in a lot of work. All of our faculty and our residents put in a lot of work to get ready for accreditation and to go through the process. So I'd really like to thank everybody who helped out with the accreditation process and really made it a positive experience. The way that I viewed the accreditation process, I think, was a positive thing. I really tried to look at the accreditation process as a quality improvement exercise. And we certainly were able to identify a number of areas of strength in our programs. And we also found some areas that I think need improvement. Specifically, we are working towards structuring our program oversight and developing our programs and making sure that all of our documentation and our paperwork and our meetings are structured the correct way. So we've got a little bit of work to do there. And we also found that there's probably a need to improve some of the faculty development that our enhanced skills preceptors are getting. There's a lot of great faculty development offerings from a variety of sources throughout the university. and the Saskatchewan Health Authority. But I think getting really focused faculty development for our enhanced skills preceptors is an important thing that we heard about in our accreditation. We're definitely looking forward to working on our things that need improvement and showing our progress at the next visit in 2026. Next slide. One thing that came out of the accreditation that was extremely positive was that we got a leading practice innovation. We being Swift Current and the Family Medicine Emergency Medicine program, the accreditors really wanted to highlight that in Swift Current, residents have a unique opportunity to participate in longitudinal comprehensive family medicine throughout their emergency medicine training. And that's unique across the country. So the residents in Swift Current, they get to do some family medicine, they get to do some obstetrics and inpatient medicine, where a lot of other programs will focus really just on emergency medicine training. There's a lot of preceptors in Swift Current who demonstrate a mixed practice of comprehensive family medicine and emergency medicine in addition. So that's, again, a really great thing to be demonstrating for our residents. A lot of the Swift Current residents reported that they feel comfortable setting up practice in rural areas when their training is complete. And obviously that's something that we're really hoping to optimize. So congratulations to all the team in Swift Current for this recognition. And I think it is very well earned. All of the programs are doing a great job, and it's great to see a leading practice innovation come out of the accreditation process. Next slide. I think that is all for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Marty. And we'll turn things over to Andres, who's our Faculty Development Director and President of the Saskatchewan College of Family Physicians.
For 7 more months, I think. So one of the many privileges we have as family physicians is to teach the next generation of doctors, and specifically family physicians. And so, hi, I'm Andres Muller. I'm the Director of Faculty Development, and we are here to support all the teachers across the province in their endeavors to teach our learners. Next slide, please. So we do use a hub and spoke model because I can't be everywhere, and it's probably a good idea to have leads in our different sites that facilitate faculty development. But we do have central and local support. You can reach out to me if you forget everything else I say tonight, and I'll make sure you get in contact with the right people. I also have very good admin support from Kimberly Moss, and so if you get her email address somewhere, feel free to reach out to her as well. Next slide. Very busy slide, but I just want to show some of the names that might come up. We have, like I said, a site lead in each of the training sites, but we also have very good connections with the different people who you've already heard speaking tonight. And one of the ones I want to highlight there is a good lead or connection with Kathy McLean, who is the Faculty Development Director for the College of Medicine. We hate to reinvent the wheel, so we often will work together on things and use resources from each other. Also, the other thing I want to highlight is even though we have site leads in the 8 training sites, we also support the surrounding areas to the training site. So if you're in an area close to a training site, feel free to reach out to that site lead to help with any faculty development needs that you might have. Next slide. I did put a slide on just to show you what we did last year. It was fairly busy, although we all got busy getting ready for accreditation. Each of the sites still had a number of sessions that they presented during the year, and a lot of people attending those sessions. And if you go to the next slide, there's a list of some of the topics that were presented during the year. It ranges all the way from giving feedback to risk management, mistreatment of students, field notes, psychological safety, all kinds of different things. And if you ever think of any topics that you really feel you need more information on, just reach out to site lead or to myself, and we'll definitely make sure it happens. Next slide. Oh, there's one slide missing. I do want to also highlight, but I think Kathy, you took it out because you stole my slide earlier on, just to highlight the equity and diversity Canvas course, as well as the professionalism Canvas course. And then one extra one, if you go to that QR code that Kathy presented earlier on, there's also a fundamentals in teaching Canvas course. So if you're really new to teaching and you just want to get the basics of the different areas, then feel free to look up that Canvas course as well. Thanks.
Sorry, Andres, I thought that was just me not putting my slides in the right place, so.
No worries.
Next, we'll turn it over to Dr. Ramsden, who is our research director.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you. Could I have the next slide, please? So I want to begin this evening by saying thank you. There were 50 primary care providers throughout the province that provided data into the PARIS, which is the Patient Reported Indicator Survey, for OECD, which is the Organization for Environment and Cooperative and Development in the WHO, the World Health Organization. And of that, we actually submitted to them 1,274 surveys from patients that you provided to that particular organization. So congratulations. We are actually heading up the country in this particular project, and it takes all of us to build this kind of work together. Next. I just want to remind us all that we're all researchers, and the biggest thing is that for us to actually engage more people in family medicine, we need to actually have and increase the scholarship within the discipline. And I say that to you because I still hear, oh, I can go into family medicine, I don't have to do research. And I'm just saying to you, we need to encourage and get rid of that particular idea as we move forward into our new world. Next. Everyone in healthcare is engaged in research as we ask questions and systematically answer them every day. So it's not a big stretch for us to actually integrate practice improvement, which is quality improvement, use of local data to actually answer questions or research into our daily practice. Next. So not only does scholarship come for undergraduate medical students and residents, we also have master's students in the program and PhD students. This provides an opportunity for learning on all levels as we actually build teams together to answer the questions that are important to the people in the communities. Next, please. I've had a wonderful opportunity this past year to be able to hire and support the scholarship leads in 6 of the 8 sites, and we will work on Saskatoon and Regina over time. We currently have 2 research officers, Dr. Bryce and Adam Clay, and we're currently in the process of hiring and interviewing 2 new and additional research officers. The goal is to actually spread the work around so that in fact the residents actually get to see a variety of ways of doing the business, but more importantly, the department actually has access to the resources that it needs to actually do program evaluation, quality improvement, and research that answers questions within the department. We're fortunate to also have Kayla Wu. So we're the bookend of the rural and remote group as they actually engage her as well for their administrative support. So it's been very exciting as we grow and develop and move out from this particular department. So my last comment is to remind you once again what Kathy said earlier. There's a faculty showcase where we're going to invite you to present your poster. It could be work in progress or it could be finished work, but more importantly, come and celebrate. It's on May the 2nd. It'll be in Saskatoon and you'll hear about it very soon. But last but not least is the 34th Annual Resident Scholarship Day on May the 31st, also in Saskatoon at Prairieland Park. And you'll also hear about that in the very near future. Thanks again, and thanks for all your support in moving it forward. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Viv. And I think that brings us to the our last slide with just, you know, we've said, please reach out, and we've given you some email addresses. But we also have some generic ones that if you don't remember who you was talking or who you wanted to talk to, please feel free to reach out to Family Medicine at usask.ca or PHO Family Medicine, which is provincial head office at USask. And then you can find us on social media too. And in addition to the USask Family Med social media, each of our resident groups have some really have their own social media Instagram feeds, and they will give you just a little bit of glimpse into resident life and how they spend their time both clinically and when they're not working too. So please feel free to check all of those out. And I am going to take the slides down and will turn off the recording and open things up for people to ask any questions that they might have. Okay. Are you there, Jamie?
I'm sorry?
Can you turn the recording off for us, Jamie?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much. Okay, so